Hello and welcome to Knockhill Circuit in Scotland. We're here for the Knockhill GT Cup 100. Knockhill have recently installed these brand new pit garages, bringing the circuit bang up to date. One of the teams to take full advantage of the new facilities is local Scottish team Celtic Speed. Alan Keith, team boss of Celtic Speed, a great result for you in race one yesterday.
Yeah, an excellent drive by George and Tom. It was unfortunate Bob ran off at the hairpin mid-race.
Yeah, because that would have been a 1-2-3 potentially for you there.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it when they were running 1-2-3 on track, because George put the pressure on Paul Hogarth and he went off on the exit of the chicane.
Now we've got a longer race today. What kind of challenges does that present to you as a team boss?
Just the same as normal. Anything can happen in long races, you know. But hopefully George can just keep the pressure on Paul again. But it is an advantage if you know the circuit. Our drivers race here on a regular basis, so it probably isn't a slight advantage knowing the circuit well.
This is the first 100-kilometre race for the GT Cup, and it's set to be an exciting preview for what's to come in 2010, when the calendar's going to feature more longer distance two-driver races to complement the existing sprint race format. The 100k race is about to start, but before then, let's take a look back at yesterday's sprint race that was held under some really tricky conditions.
Race, I mean, in the wet, so nobody was really set up for it. Paul made a good enough start, fell in the second, and the more you pushed him, the more he was running wide. And the one thing you don't do at Knockhill is touch the curbs in the wet, and he came through the chicane, and unfortunately he just put one wheel on, and that was it.
To be honest, qualifying went quite well. I think we qualified third in class. The trouble is in the race, I can't actually use the strengths of the car because I'm getting held up around the back. And on the straights, the Porsches have about 100 brake horsepower more, so it's hard work.
I think it was a bit of oil on the track, but probably it was oil in the brake that caused the problem. Just left it too late to brake and it was on the wrong side of the track. It was my fault, you know. Stupidity, once again.
This is the GT Cup's first time in Scotland, and boy, what a reception. The pipers are piping, the wind's blowing, and the girls are turning blue. Let's go and see who's around on the grid for a quick chat. If I can just nip my way in here. Paul Hogarth, you're starting on pole position. A bit of a tricky one for you yesterday, but today, how do you think it's going to go?
I'm feeling pretty good, and hopefully get a nice clean start. We can see if we can get a little bit of a break from George and move on from there.
Well, good luck. I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine. Who else can we catch over here? George Brewster was yesterday's winner in the GT Cup. We can just catch a quick word with George. Hi, George. You're starting from the front row here. Win yesterday. What are the hopes for today?
Yeah, the same again would be very nice, Charlie, but let's not mix ambition up with capability. We'll just play it by ear. It's a long race, so it's a different mindset. Still a sprint, but it's just much longer, so you need concentration.
Well, best of luck, George. Thanks for that. The engines are starting. The guys are about to go out on track for our first 100-kilometre race for the GT Cup. It should be a good one.
The first ever Butte Motorsport GT Cup endurance race, the Knockhill 100 kilometres, 50 laps of the tight and twisty 1.2 mile Knockhill circuit. A big field of GT Cup cars heading out on their formation lap. But what a circuit for the first GT Cup endurance race. Tight and twisty, it promises to be a cracker. Lining up on pole position, we have Paul Hogarth in Lamborghini Gallardo. Alongside him, George Brewster in the Porsche 997. And heading up Group 3, we've got Jim Geddy in his Porsche. At the back of the grid, watch for Phil Driver coming through from 17. Cars on their formation lap. It is the GT Cup, which means it's a rolling start as the field begins to form up side by side. The lights are out on the pace cars, so are about to go racing for 50 laps of the Knockhill circuit. And well, Paul Hogarth starts from pole, be looking to make amends from yesterday. Craig Wilkins making his GT Cup debut in the Ginetta G50. Let's see how he gets on. Pace car pulls in, it's about to get fast, here we go! Away goes Hogarth, he rockets away in the Lamborghini Gallardo, and George Brewster going with him in the early stages. Also a good start from the Marcos Mantis of Colin Simpson. They turn into the set curves for the first time. Ray Diaz in the midfield. In car with Craig Wilkins, he goes for a move up the inside there. And does he make a stick? Yes, he does. Opportunistic in the early stages from the Ginetta. Field all safely through in the early stages, but it's congested. Benjamin Harvey nearly chopped off there by Alex Martin. As at the front of the field, Hogarth leads through Carlu corner, but he's got George Brewster for company. And well, yesterday Brewster pressurised Hogarth into an error. Let's see if he can do the same again today. They head down to the Real Radio hairpin for the first time as the cars just bobbing and weaving over the bumps. Although Brewster looking very calm in the Group 2 Porsche, pressurising the Group 1 Lamborghini Gallardo. And you have to say that Knockhill is a circuit that is not ideally suited to the characteristics of the Lamborghini. They head to the set curves, and Brewster right to the tail of Hogarth. He almost goes to the inside, but Hogarth colours the line just in time. Colin Simpson, Tommy Dreelan as well, shaping up for a good battle in Group 2, the Marcos on the Porsche. Well, Colin Simpson, the Marcos Mantis, a supporter of the GT Cup from day one, and the Marcos always beautifully turns out, a car you hear before you see it. At the front, however, Brewster is still putting a lot of pressure on Paul Hogarth. They go out of Carlu corner once more and then head along to the Real Radio hairpin. And well, Hogarth just shadowing to the inside line. Brewster has a look more, I think, to show himself in Hogarth's mirrors, just to make sure that Paul remembers he's there. No risk of that not happening as they blast over the start-finish line once more further back. Plenty of battles emerging. Craig Wilkins going very well in his Group 3 debut in the Ginetta G50. Into Sat they all go. As Hogarth still leading the way in Lamborghini Gallardo. And the introduction of Group 1 to the GT Cup this year has really given the series a great boost. We've seen some wonderful machinery, and it's good to see the Gallardo out to play this weekend at Knockhill. But my goodness, George Brewster is making him work for it, as Brewster in the Porsche 997 tucks onto the tail of Paul Hogarth. In car with Gary Eastwood and the Porsche 996 GT3. Have to say that doesn't sound too healthy. The gear slipping a little bit. Into the hairpin they go once more. Brewster driving superbly to keep in touch with Hogarth. Bob Lyons going very nicely in third position as well. Further back, Craig Wilkins is beginning to come under some pressure as the number 78 car goes past him. That's Jim Geddy. And so Geddy, another Group 3-1 runner, moving past the Ginetta. Benjamin Harvey taking the opportunity to move past Wilkins as well. Head of the field, Brewster still on the tail of Paul Hogarth. And well, Hogarth would have hoped to run away with this one, but Brewster, he looks to the inside as they head along to Carlu corner. I don't think he's going to quite find a way through there. Indeed, he does not. But Hogarth is happy to drive with his mirrors rather than concentrating on the road in front of him. They head along the Hislops straight towards the Real Radio hairpin. Race being broadcast live on Real Radio, and the local supporters here at Knockhill delighted to have the GT Cup visiting their circuit in 2009. And why not? Because the GT Cup always produces great racing, as we can see a little bit further back, as Craig Wilkins in the Ginetta is rather being ganged up on by the Porsches. There goes Phil Dryborough, and Dryborough, whose driving has come on leaps and bounds in 2009, picking his way through the field. Dryborough with only one car to pick his way past is George Brewster, and this is proving to be a great weekend for Celtic Speed. Their drivers are currently second, third and fifth in the race. As Brewster leading the Celtic Speed Charge as he sets off, continues his pursuit more like of Paul Hogarth. We're already well into this race and Hogarth has not been able to break away from George Brewster. Oh no, into the pit lane, that's Ray Diaz, and that car going very, very slowly. I have a horrible feeling that Diaz may be going no further. Let's see what the team can do to the new garages here at Knockhill. And yes, that's looking rather terminal, unfortunately, for Ray Diaz. So one Group 2 car out of the race. And Gary Eastwood in the pits as well. And, well, we were on board with Eastwood earlier. It didn't sound too healthy. Hopefully, the team have been able to refettle the car and you'll be able to make it through to the end of the race. Anyway, back into the action goes Eastwood. This is a nice little battle shaping up here between Benjamin Harvey in the Porsche and then Barclay Dougal in the BMW. And Barclay Dougal been going increasingly well in the GT Cup. And he makes that BMW go a lot quicker than perhaps the statistics would suggest as he sits off in pursuit of Benjamin Harvey as they head down towards the Real Radio hairpin. Is Dougal going to find a way through on the inside? Don't think it's quite close enough. No, he's not. So the two Group 3 cars having a cracking battle as they head off to start another lap. We'll be heading to a break and we're back here at Knockhill very shortly. Welcome back to Knockhill, where the Butte Motorsport GT Cup Knockhill 100km race is in full swing, as indeed is this cracking battle between Tommy Dreelan and Colin Simpson. Simpson in the blue Marcos, currently holding Dreelan in the Porsche Bay as they tussle around the twists and turns here at Knockhill. They go out of the John R. Weir chicane and head on to Cardew Corner. Dreelan and Simpson, staunch supporters of the GT Cup, both of them in Group 2, and the organisers of the GT Cup work very closely to ensure that the cars in each group are as evenly matched as possible. As we're seeing as the Porsche goes to the inside of the Marcos Mantis, is Dreelan going to go through? Yes, he does. And, well, Colin Simpson had no option because he wanted to turn into the hairpin. Tommy Dreelan was there, so Simpson, unfortunately, in the Marcos Mantis, unfortunately for him anyway, has to concede the position to Tommy Dreelan. So Dreelan moves up a place, and Simpson demoted. Craig Wilkins looks to the inside of Barclay Dougal and Benjamin Harvey. Is he going to get a 2 for 1? They accelerate out to the Real Radio hairpin over the grid hatchings. The Porsche of Harvey accelerates away. So does the BMW of Barclay Dougal. So Craig Wilkins, when he was momentarily ahead of the pair of them, now he slips back as they go into the Seat curves and down the hill to Leslie's. Well, these three Group 3 cars continuing their fight around the Knockhill circuit. Wilkins in the Silver Ginetta chasing down Barclay Dougal in the blue and white BMW, and the pair of them in pursuit of Benjamin Harvey. They accelerate towards Cardew Corner, and Wilkins goes to the inside of Barclay Dougal. Oh, well, that was close because Barclay Dougal didn't really see that Craig Wilkins was there, and Wilkins was committed to the manoeuvre. They all scrabble around the corner and head down to the Real Radio hairpin. That gives Benjamin Harvey some momentary breathing space as Barclay Dougal and Craig Wilkins, well, these two having a cracking battle. They head off to complete another lap. Into the pits comes Gary Eastwood, and door open, that looks terminal, and Charlie George is waiting.
Hi Gary, you've pulled into the pits, what's the problem?
Well, we took a bang during practice out there, and I think what's happened is we have some drive shaft damage maybe, because we've lined everything up and put it all right, but I've got high speed vibration and every lap it's getting worse. So something's going to break if I continue, and that's dangerous, so for me and everybody else, so we need to stop now.
Commiserations, Gary.
Thank you.
A philosophical Gary Eastwood as Bob Lyons continues in third position. We look back to fourth, and we've got Tommy Dreelan, and that's Phil Driver who's come onto Dreelan's tail as we hit the halfway point in this race. A cracking battle between the two Porsches, both of whom are in Group 2, and Phil Driver all the way from 17th on the grid. The rear of the car breaks away from Driver as he continues to try and chase down Tommy Dreelan. There's not much more tracing to do because he's riding his tail. Driver looks to the inside of Dreelan. He's surely not going to find a way through there. Indeed he doesn't, so Tommy just swoops across and takes the line as Phil Driver kicks up some spray into the Cardew Corner. accelerate down his lops. And Dreelan covering the inside. He's going to make Phil Dryburgh go around the outside, which is exactly what Dryburgh tries to do. Around the outside he attempts to go. Unfortunately, it's rubber versus asphalt, and the rubber losing out, so Phil Dryburgh remains behind Tommy Dreelan. Yellow flags waving in the background. What's happened? That's what's happened. Barclay Dougal has spun to the infield. And, well, those Pirellis aren't finding too much traction on the grass. He's going to be there for a while. Dreelan and Dryburgh go through. And then the other BMW in the race, Michael Simmons, who has got Colin Simpson behind him. And Simpson and Marcos just beginning to fade at the stage of the race. Well, Phil Dryburgh bouncing over the curbs and obviously not doing too much for his pace on the exit of the corner as they go through Carloop once more, and Phil Dryburgh is giving it absolutely everything. He's been teaming up with John Gore for several races during 2009. It's really brought Phil's driving on in leaps and bounds, quite literally, as we saw as they went through the John Weir chicane there. And so Dryburgh going through the hairpin there and back over the start and finish line. The large local crowd here in Knockhill thoroughly enjoying the action, and why not, because this is a very engaging battle. Into South curves they go, then Leslie's, and then the tight right-hander at Scotsman's. Then go down the hill and head up to the John O'Weir chicane, which they bounce through. As well, Phil Dryburgh beginning to lose patience. The body language of that car suggests he's getting a little bit frustrated behind Tommy Dreelan. He looks to the outside into Carloop corner. There's no grip there. He goes off through the gravel trap into the barriers. Disaster for Phil Dryburgh. And in the pit lane, that's Jim Geddy as well.
Pretty disappointing. I think we're sitting a few seconds ahead in class, playing with some of the Group 2 cars, but something's picked up on the road that snapped the wiring loom, and the ABS is gone, so it's almost impossible to brake. So, race over.
It's looking so promising as well.
Yeah, it was looking good. We're actually getting better lap times than we were qualifying times, so it was coming together, but not to be.
Well, very disappointing for Jim Geddy, but in terms of the Group 3 battle, it's rather good news for Craig Wilkins, because that elevates him a position as he closes up onto Alex Martin, another Group 3 runner, and, well, that's one way to pass your rivals, giving Martin rather excessive helping hand really through the John O'Weir chicane. So Wilkins elevates himself up a position as in the lead Paul Hogarth continues on his way. He's now amongst some of the Group 3 runners, so that Gallardo having to pick his way carefully through the traffic, which he is able to do. So that gives him a reasonable advantage over George Brewster. You can just see in the back of the shot. It's now getting to that stage of the race where the pit wall is getting rather tense as we move towards the closing stages. Hogarth about to lap Marcos Mantis and Colin Simpson. She should do as they flash past the pits. That said, the Marcos has got a fair bit of grunt. But here comes Gallardo around the outside of Colin Simpson. Simpson doing the sensible thing, getting offline, letting Paul Hogarth through. And in the GT Cup, the series very closely policed to make sure the drivers race cleanly. They race fairly, and they are as gentlemanly as you can be in motor racing to the other drivers on the track. That said, Alex Martin recovering through the field. He looks to the outside of Henry Furman, around the outside of Furman he goes. So Martin recovering from the Craig Wilkins-induced spin, picks his way past Henry Furman. Although Furman in the silver number 22 Porsche staying with Martin. And a cracking battle as ever in Group 3. The two Porsches very, very evenly matched. I imagine this one will go all the way to the flag, because as they go through Carloop corner, Furman closing up onto Martin. They then accelerate down towards the Real Radio hairpin. Well, no acceleration at all for Bertie Carruthers. That's the end of his race in smoky style. George Brewster continuing in second position. And Craig Wilkins going very well in his first outing in the Ginetta in Group 3. Previously seen in the GT Cup in the Porsche. He is debuting the Ginetta G50 this weekend. Let's hope we see more of him in it, because he is providing some great entertainment around this Knockhill circuit. Wilkins also seen in the British GT Championship, sharing a Dodge Viper with Aaron Scott, racing single-handedly this weekend in the Jetta G50, and closing onto the tail of Colin Simpson, the Marcos Mantis. And you get the feeling that the Marcos is beginning to flag, because Wilkins just closed the gap down in no time at all. And well, Simpson, he certainly got the indicator flashing, but he then pulls away from Wilkins along Hislop straight into the real radio hairpin. And so Craig Wilkins currently bottled up by Marcos Mantis. So Wilkins leading Group 3 as the last lap ball goes out. And Paul Hogarth, well, he's led more or less from lights to flag, but not for want of trying from George Brewster, who's been putting him under sustained pressure throughout this race. So Paul Hogarth making amends for yesterday's error. He is just one corner away from the checkered flag and a stunning victory in the Lamborghini Gallardo into the real radio hairpin. He goes for the final time. Just a couple of 100 metres to go. The checkered flag ready and waiting. Up over the start of the finish line goes Paul Hogarth. He wins the Knockhill 100-kilometre race in the Butte Motorsport GT Cup. And only 10 seconds further back, and winning Group 2 is George Brewster, second overall. A great drive from him. So Paul Hogarth wins Knockhill 100, George Brewster second, Bob Lyons third, Tommy Dreen the hard-fought fourth, Colin Simpson fifth, Craig Wilkins sixth, and Henry Furman rounding out the top 7. Group 3 classification, Craig Wilkins takes the win from Henry Furman with Alex Martin in third despite the spin. No Group 4 today, unfortunately. Well, Paul Hogarth wins the race and Group 1. Group 2, George Brewster with the honours from Bob Lyons and Tommy Dreelan. Into Park Ferme, delighted group winners, Paul Hogarth, George Brewster and Craig Wilkins.
Paul Hogarth, congratulations. You led that one right from the start.
That was fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. Loved every minute of it. Isn't Knockhill beautiful? I love the place now.
I bet you do.
Yeah, that was great. George kept me really honest for the first sort of 6-7 laps. I could just see that I was squeezing a bit of a gap. I think it got to about 4.5 seconds. I thought I might have broken him a little bit and just kept moving it on from there.
George Brewster, congratulations, your second win of the weekend.
Yeah, very pleased. Thanks very much, Charlie. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope it was a great spectacle for Butte Motorsport and GT Cup because I think everybody made a huge effort. But good race.
And did you enjoy the longer race format?
Thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah. In terms of the race, Paul drove just exceptionally well. First 5 or 6 laps. I thought I might have had a go at him once or twice, but he had the power and the ability, fair enough, to get the car around. He was tremendous on the brakes and just drove very steadily. Too good.
Craig Wilkins, congratulations. A fantastic win for you in Group 3.
Yeah, I'm very pleased with that. It was a very hard race, very high pace. I was expecting towards the end of the race the pace to drop off a bit, but it didn't appear to, so no, good fun.
And an enjoyable foray back into GT Cup.
Yeah, very enjoyable indeed. And I love coming to Scotland. The welcome's always warm and the track's great, even if the weather isn't.
You said it, Craig. And how was the Ginetta?
Got a couple of war wounds, but other than that, it's good. Yeah, good to go again.
Bob Lyons, well done. Third on the road and second in class.
Yeah, delighted with that. Came looking for certainly a podium this weekend, but very happy with that. Hell of a pace at the start, just couldn't live with them to begin with. I tried for all I could, but then I managed to flat spot a tyre and the last 14 laps were pretty tough going.
Well, that's it for the racing for the GT Cup 100. Perfect timing as it's just started to rain. What an exciting taster into long distance racing for the GT Cup. I, for one, will be looking forward to seeing more of that next year. But before then, of course, we've got our penultimate race of the season at Silverstone. The grids are already absolutely massive for that one, so don't miss it. It's on in just a few weeks right here on Motors TV.